Welcome to the Hacking Your Leadership guest series, where we explore leadership and culture through the eyes of leaders around the world.
That's right, Chris. We hand-selected leaders that we believe are positively influencing leadership in their industries. We sent them 4 questions we think are important in gaining insight to their leadership beliefs and style.
If you'd like to be part of the Hacking Your Leadership guest series, shoot us an email to guest@hackingyourleadership.com and let's talk.
And now, today's guest.
My name is Dennis Geelen, and thanks for listening to the Hacking Your Leadership podcast guest series. What was the first mistake I made as a leader of people, and what did I learn? Well, when I first moved into a leadership role, I was working at a software company, and I was a high performer on the team. I would outperform other programmers. I would solve problems faster. I was bringing new ideas, and really pumping out a lot of work faster than other people on my team. A lot of times what happens with those high performers is they get moved into leadership positions. And little did I know at the time, but the best accountant doesn't always make the best CFO. The best chef doesn't always make a good restaurant owner. I didn't necessarily have leadership qualities. I was just a high performer. But it got me promoted. So naturally what I was thinking in my brain was, you work hard, you are responsible, you bring a lot of ideas. That's what makes a leader. So instead of really understanding what does it take now to be a leader of these people, I just kept doing the same thing, probably only harder. I kept working harder. I kept bringing new ideas. I kept trying to pump out new code faster. I wasn't really leading people at all. I had no idea that something needed to change now that I was leading people. Once I started to understand a little bit, okay, now I'm responsible for these people. Another big mistake I made at that point then was the old 80-20 rule. I was spending 80% of my time trying to lift up the bottom 20% of the performers on our team. I just figured, hey, if I can raise their level, it's going to make the team better. What I didn't realize at the time was I was ignoring the other high performers on the team. And they need attention. They need to hone their skills. They need to know what's their career path. Where are they going? They need to be recognized. They need to be rewarded. And I wasn't doing that because I was spending most of my time trying to lift up the low performers. So a couple big mistakes early on in my leadership career for sure. What is the difference between a good leader and a great leader? To me, all good leaders have a few qualities in common. First thing is they know to set some values for themselves personally. What is the type of leader I want to be? Not necessarily who I am today. What do I aspire to be as a leader? And there's probably a gap there. I'm not doing it well enough, but this is what where I want to be. Maybe that's integrity, maybe it's honesty, maybe it's trust, maybe it's collaboration, whatever. Should have 3 to 5 values that you want to define who you are as a leader. And then you use those values and you demonstrate those values when you're making decisions, when you're leading people. That makes a good leader. You're getting results, you're motivating others, and you're living by those values. Good leaders. A great leader, though, has a couple extra qualities, I believe. One is the ability to have a little higher level strategic thinking, a vision. And then the ability to articulate and communicate that vision to the team and get them to buy into it. A great leader can really rally the team together and see what's the end result here. What are we all working towards, and let's get everybody together on that same page. The last thing that also makes a great leader, I believe, is they cultivate other leaders. That was the big mistake I was making in the first place. I just thought, I'm a leader, I'll just keep doing what I was doing before. And to me, that really isn't a leader at all. That's just a title of manager. A real great leader cultivates other leaders. You lift up those around you and you prepare those people for leadership roles. Well, what does that look like? I strongly believe in the philosophy of don't just give a man a fish. He will eat for a day. Instead, teach a man to fish and he will eat for life. And that's really what leaders need to do, is teach other people how to be good leaders. How do you set your values? How do you live by those values? How do you create a vision? How do you have that strategic thinking? How do you communicate that vision? And then how do you get the most out of those people? How do you understand those people? How do you know where they want to go and help them get there? A real leader will cultivate other leaders within the team. They may stay within the team. They may move on to another department in the company. They may move on to another company altogether just because they've outgrown where they are. And that's fine. That's not a bad reflection on their leader. It should be a measure of, wow, this is a great leader. They're cultivating people that are going on to bigger, better things in other companies. How do you measure success of a leader of people and a developer of talent? And to me, that all comes down to how well do you cultivate other leaders within your team. A good example of what this looks like is in my consulting role now, I work with a lot of different businesses, and I've had different leaders say to me things like, Dennis, I like to tell my team members, don't bring me a problem, bring me a solution. Or I like to tell my team members, think outside the box. And to me, that's only half the equation. It's great to tell your team that, but do they know how? Teach them how. Teach them how to bring you solutions. Teach them how to think outside the box. If you're a leader and you want your teams to act that way, teach them how. To me, that's the measure of a good leader. Thank you for listening to Hacking Your Leadership podcast guest series. I'm Dennis Geelen, founder and principal consultant of Zero In. You can follow me on Twitter at Dennis_Geelen. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, find me on Facebook, or you can check out my website, www.zero-in.ca. And remember, don't just tell your teams to think outside the box, teach them how.